My name is Owen Unger. I'm a senior at Cambridge High School in Kent, Washington. I'm a National Merit semifinalist with a pending finalist application, and this status has given me access to dozens of full-ride scholarships at schools across the country, despite having no demonstrated financial need. In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can gain access to similar scholarships simply by taking the SAT. So in this video, I'm going to discuss what the National Merit Scholarship is, what it's worth, and how to get it, how to get into the National Merit Program if you're in the Kent School District through alternate entry, how to apply for finalist standing, how to get school and corporate sponsored scholarships, and the timeline for completing all of these steps. So the National Merit Scholarship is a program that is a competitive scholarship award that is solely based on your PSAT score, which is the test you take as a junior typically to prepare you for the SAT. And so if you score high on the PSAT, you are automatically considered a National Merit semifinalist. And if you complete a small application, you will be selected as a National Merit finalist. And the way you get scholarships through this is that universities and corporations, they look at all of the names on the semifinalist or finalist list. And if they see your name as a semifinalist or as a finalist, and you want to go to their university, or you are a child of somebody who works for them, they will give you scholarships. Sometimes at some of these universities that can be worth 6 figures. They can be full ride, full tuition scholarships, including at like Washington State. So you can get some very lucrative scholarships simply by scoring well on the PSAT. However, unfortunately, the Kent School District does not offer the PSAT, and it's very difficult to take it outside of the district. So you're going to have to do alternate entry, where you just take the SAT instead, but there is some additional paperwork involved with that. So in the next couple of slides, I'm going to explain all the steps for getting into this program by taking the SAT instead. So the first step is going to be mailing a letter to National Merit before April 1st of your junior year to explain, hey, I can't take the PSAT. I tried my district and nearby districts, it's not available. And so I have a letter template in the description that includes the address for National Merit that I use to get alternate entry. Just print this out, put it in an envelope and mail it off to National Merit, and you should get a letter back telling you that you have been accepted for alternate entry. And then once you've been accepted for alternate entry, you want to take the SAT. You take it anytime during your junior year, and you're going to have to take it outside of the district because, again, the Kent School District does not offer either the PSAT or the SAT. You want to sign up at least a month in advance. Spots can be pretty competitive, and you can take the SAT as many times as you want. You cannot super score, I believe, but you can use your highest score that you get during your junior year. So you can take it up to potentially like 10 times. And don't bother paying for study guides. In the description, I have some great free resources that I use to study. I only use free resources to study, and I still got National Merit. You don't need to pay for anything. And then once you get your SAT score, which you'll get about 2 weeks after taking the SAT, you want to see if you qualify for National Merit to get on their semifinalist list. And they do this selection index equation where they take 2 times your reading score, this R is your reading score, plus your math score, this is your math score, over 10. And if that is greater than or equal to 220, you may be eligible as a semifinalist. This number is based on how like the average in Washington State. You have to be in the top certain percentile in your state, and so this number changes year to year. But if you're around 220 or greater, I would recommend sending in your score. Assuming you score equally on both sections, about a 1470 is what you're looking at to qualify for National Merit. One thing to note, the SAT goes up to 1600, the PSAT only goes up to 1520. So if you have a section score of 760 on both math and reading or above 760, you are guaranteed to be a semifinalist because that is essentially a perfect score on the PSAT. And then once you know that you qualify, you want to fill out your alternate entry form, which will be emailed to you or mailed to you by National Merit. If they email it, they will use the email you put on the letter that you mail them. And so it's a one-page form, print it out, fill out, there's a section for you, there's a small section for your counselor, scan it, and then email it back to ae@nmerit.net. And then you're also going to have to send your SAT score to National Merit. If you take the PSAT, you do not have to send it because they can automatically see it. They cannot automatically see your SAT. So you're going to want to go to your College Board account at cb.org and send to 0085 your SAT score. And then it will be radio silence from National Merit until September. But then in September, they're going to mail a big package to your high school counselor telling you, hey, your student is awesome, they got National Merit. They will publish your name in the Seattle Times, which is pretty cool. And then you have to complete a small online application if you want to move on to the more competitive finalist list, right? The finalist standing is slightly more competitive than semifinalist, and that just means that you have done this application. You do need to have an essay. This is going to be basically your college admissions essay, and you need a letter of recommendation. It can just be from your counselor, but ask 2 weeks in advance at least to get a letter of recommendation. This is due in early October. They ask you to send your SAT score. If you have already sent them your SAT score because you did alternate entry, you do not need to send it again. And it's basically automatic that you get finalist standing. If you are a semifinalist, over 90% of applicants do. So you're basically guaranteed to be a finalist. The finalist application also asks you what your first choice school is. If you want to go somewhere that has a National Merit Scholarship, but you have not listed that university as your first choice school, they will likely not give you any money. So I would recommend leaving this blank and submitting the online application with your first choice school listed as undecided. And then what you can do is you can go back in after the due date for this application. You have already submitted this application. You can go back in and change this until March. So I would recommend leaving this blank until you absolutely know where you're going, and then you can go back in and select your first choice school, and that will determine whether or not you can get their National Merit Scholarship package. And that brings us into school and corporate sponsored scholarships. So this is where the really lucrative scholarships are. So certain corporations will sponsor scholarships if you are a child of one of their employees. There's a list in the description of what those corporations are. Boeing is one of them, but Waste Management is also another. So whether your parent is an engineer or a garbage truck driver, really you could be eligible for some of these scholarships. Additionally, universities will give you a lot of money if you are a National Merit Scholar and want to go to, for example, Washington State. Will cover the entire cost of tuition. You will not pay a dime in tuition if you go to Washington State University as a National Merit Scholar and list them as your first choice school on the finalist application. University of Idaho, which is 20 minutes away from Wazoo, will give you full tuition and full room and board. So will the University of Alabama, so will the University of Texas at Dallas. And there's a list in the description of about a dozen schools that will give you a full ride, and dozens more that will give you still less significant, but still significant financial aid as a National Merit Scholar. And so real quick, I'm going to run through the timeline for all the deadlines for completing all of these steps. So by April 1st of your junior year, you need to have mailed a letter requesting alternate entry if you cannot find a PSAT. By June of your junior year, you need to have taken the SAT and sent that as well as your alternate entry form to National Merit. By September of your senior year, you will know that you are a semifinalist, and then in early October of your senior year, you need to submit the application, and your counselor has a part of the application that they need to do, and you have a part that you need to do. And again, all of these dates may be subject to change. This is just the dates of the current program, but double check for your year. And then in January to February of your senior year, you will know if you're a finalist. March 1st is the deadline to select a college as your first choice. And later in March, corporate scholarships will be awarded. And also there is a $25,000 scholarship that the National Merit Program awards to certain finalists. This is technically the actual National Merit Scholarship, this $2,500. But this isn't really the significant money comes from these university and corporate sponsored scholarships. That's how you really get these full ride six-figure scholarships, not this $2,500. But this is still a nice stipend if you're going somewhere that does not offer full ride for National Merit. So thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll be reading them. This is supposed to say good luck to you on your journey to becoming a National Merit Scholar.